Okay, we're starting the ghost guide. So I wrote everything out, and I'll give you some reasons why I should be good to give this guide here. I'm top 50 in the bestiary. I have like 2.9 million ghost kills and like 600 hours on this. So I think I'm pretty qualified here. Starting off with the base set, this is what you should start off with. If you have less than this, you should try like farm or mine or something like that where you can make some more money before starting ghosts. So you do need full crimson. You're going to want full bank 5, at least 4 out of 5 rough gemstones on the gemstone gauntlet. You do need a perfect topaz. You do need pristine 5. You do need scavenger 5. You're going to need a golden dragon with a 50% EXP boost, some combat pet with an EXP share. Doesn't have to be a skeleton, but that's just the one I use back in the day. You should be using an exalted bonbon. It's a new thing they added to get you more attributes. You need a rune book in your inventory, a blood god talisman with less than 1,000,000 kills, should have a thunder bottle, hunter talisman, and a scavenger talisman. So the big thing here with this base set is that you should be able to one tap after the fire aspect. If you're not one tapping ghost, there's pretty much no point, unless you're like Iron Man or something. You should. Some things that could make that easier for you are Fatal Tempo 1, the Dirty Reforge. If you already have Revenant 8, instead of using the Dirty Reforge, you could use the Zombie Mix-In. Should have the handy Blood Chalice, God Pot, Century Cakes as always. Those things, if you have all that, you should be able to one tap even if you only do like 470,000 damage. So definitely got to get all that. Now I'm thinking about it, probably a little less. Probably only like 350k with the Crimson Swipe. If you can't, still try to get some more magical power. It's going to be useful in other places than just ghosts, so definitely. Here you should be making at least 25 million coins per hour, so it's better than farming right there. Yeah, some things that'll help with damage are the Lonesome Miner perk in Heart of the Mountain, getting some higher tier Crimson, using a, I already said that. Shouldn't be using Fabled ever, so if you're using that zombie mix-in, you can use Withered. Should use Ancient instead of Renowned at the start here. Some shards that might be helpful are Ghost and Sycophant for surviving, Barbarian Duke, Thorn, and Soul of the Alpha for damage, especially if you don't have 1 billion bank. If you do, and you don't want to spend the money on the shards, it's completely fine. Macho, you need to have Macho. It's not a joke. Obsidian Defender, that'll free up some tuning points. I should have said that you need to have 400 speed while you're doing ghosts. You're still like, barely not one tapping them. Try to get some of the elemental shards that give you some strength or some other stats probably. Yeah, for the equipment, you can use the Rift necklace. If you haven't done the Rift or something, you can use the Molten necklace. So Rift necklace, Molten equipment. If you have Fishing 45, you could use the Magma Lord gauntlet. And you should be using the David's cloak no matter how good you are. So yeah, that kicks off the base set there. So yeah. Alright, kicking it off to the mediocre set here. So you got the Sorrow armor, full perfect topaz, gotta have 5 perfects on the gemstone gauntlet. That's for your forge to go even faster. You do need scavenger 6. Most slayers killed once for that combat wisdom. You can get up to 34 combat wisdom there, so it's super helpful. Scavenger artifact, it's a pretty pricey one. Artifact of power, you don't actually need the relic of power. They're the exact same for pristine. The large fishbowl, I don't actually know if it affects the ghost shards, but it's pretty cheap for the magic power anyways, and it's incredible if it does affect the ghost shards. The blue but red Abbey case is also going to be helpful. If you don't want to use it for whatever reason, it doesn't matter. It's only 1.5 combat wisdom. Gotta have 7 forge slots. All your forge slots should be doing something over 100,000 coins per hour, and they should probably last over 6 hours each. I'll just say what I use is the Devon pieces, but if everyone watching this video, all 10 of you, start using Devon pieces, it'll probably drive the prices down. Trying to make them as good. Part of the Forest 7 with the, part of the Mountain 7 with the +1 Pristine perk, the Gemstone Infusion, and also the 30 Magic Find perk. Something I want to say here is that the Gemstone Infusion perk gets you about 1 million coins per hour extra. So if you are using like a macro or something to kill the ghosts, I would recommend like getting another macro to also be using the Gemstone Infusion ability. If you're not macroing though, just set up like a notification whenever it says in the chat that it's available through Skytills. If you don't know how to do that, it's probably on Google. And you should be using a Gyrokinetic Wand. If you're legit, that'll get you up to like 5,500 kills per hour if you're one-tapping. And yeah, so if you're macroing though, it's not very helpful. And then your taming level should be above 55. Something I do want to say is that if you're macroing, you should be at 5,200 kills per hour. If you're not, it's probably because there are ghosts in other parts of the area. So if you're on that side that's under the bridge, there's going to be some ghosts that might be like under the bridge on like the far side from where like the macro runs. Yeah, make sure to like kill those before you start the macro. And you should be making about 35 mil per hour or more at this stage. And yeah, the biggest thing here is that like doing the damage, just stick with that ferocity build and you should be good, even with Sour Armor instead of Crimson. Yeah, so to check what you should be using for the Forge, you should use a Discord bot on Skyblock C, whatever other server you want to use. And yeah, so that's it for the mid stage. Okay, kicking off with a good set. This is where you really start to make real money here. You need to be using that Crown of Avarice. Makes about 12 mil more than the Eleanor's helmet. Might make a video or a comment on why that is. Please don't be using an Eleanor helmet. You need to be having a 3/4 Eleanor. I would recommend investing in a second G-Jag with an EXP share. This is because, number one, I think it makes more profit than any other combat pet per EXP, but also because you won't have to be selling it as much, which is quite the inconvenience. You could use an Infernal Kuja-Core. I personally use a Fiery Kuja-Core. It only gives like 1 or 2 or 3 Hunting Fortune, so just use whatever one you want to use for the magic power. You should have Taming 60. You might want to invest in a Beastmaster Crest with over 1,000 kills. You are going to want a Hunter Ring and Looting 5. So the big thing here that's different than the last set is the attributes, which are super good for ghosts. I'm making about 7 mil per hour extra because of attributes alone. Something else that I just remembered is that you should have the Forest Essence perk that gives you 10% extra drops from salts. And you should have the Apex Dragon maxed out, the Naga, the Megalith, the Leviathan, the Sea Serpent, and if you're using the Sea Serpent, you should also have the Tiamat. You should have the Toucan, the Falcon, the Golden Ghoul, and again, the Macho. So most of those, you're probably fine if you're just using them like tier 6 or 7. They're a lot cheaper than they are at tier 10. So yeah, it's up to you. Oh yeah, and a note about the Crown of Avarice is that for me it takes about 107 hours to get 1 bill on the counter. That's with 1691 coins per kill and 5,200 kills per hour. So yeah, and those coin per kill numbers are including the Grandma Wolf boost, so they're not up 100% of the time. All right, so that's it for the good set. Hopefully that was helpful, and yeah. All right, this is the Hypermax set. So some of these things I don't even have, but yeah. So number one thing here is the Devon drill with the blue cheese. If you're using a macro, this won't actually work. but if you are legit, it will be helpful. I should check how much extra coins that makes per hour. If I had to guess though, probably like up to 1 mil per hour extra. You should use a blaze tech. You should you don't actually need a blaze tech. You want to consider a blaze tech, a magic 8 ball, and a max beastmaster crest. And again, just some final reminders here are that bestiary is a huge deal. It's about 8 mil per hour less if you don't have max bestiary. Don't be one of those people out of the cookie. See a lot of nons out of the cookies, you know, keep those on. Dying a lot in Ghost also is helpful. So just some things about my profits. So I am making 28 mil per hour from the Crown of Avarice, making 4.5 mil from the Forge, assuming 150k per hour profit items. Kind of sucks to sell, but yeah, talked about that before. 7.5 mil per hour from leveling pets. Guessing it's probably up to like 8 or 9 mil per hour now with the toucan. I haven't really looked into how that works. If it's an additive 10% or multiplicative, I don't know. I got 15 mil per hour from gemstones and normal ghost drops like sorrows, plasmas, voltas. That's all calculated by Sky Handy's ghost profit calculator, which might be inaccurate since it does use the flawed prices instead of the fines and flawless ones that I sell them at. And then yeah, there is 1.1 mil per hour from upgrading my own runebooks, 250k per hour from dropping runebooks from Runix, and 60k per hour from Blood God Tally. One extra note here is that the Periwinkle rune, the Periwinkle die is in the game. If you get one of those, that's lit. I think Ghost is like probably the best way to get it, so that's cool. I don't know how much per hour you make from that, but it's probably not that much. This is so rare. So yeah, that's it for the Ghost Guide. If you have any questions, make sure to drop those down in the comments. It's probably gonna be like 2 comments on this video though. So we'll see. And yeah,